The New York Yankees have started out 2022 with a rapid start. They have the best record in baseball and have been on absolute fire. My name is Derek, and I'm here with John, getting the Yankees fan finally on here. And this is, can the New York Yankees win title 28 here on Bleacher Brawls? So the Yankees, obviously a blistering start to the year. They are 32-13 as of recording. So I'll throw it over to John first. Obviously, it's his team. Thoughts on the team?
I think this, I know you had Luke on a couple of days ago, and I'm sure he just ripped the Yankees apart. But honestly, I do think the Yankees are a contender this year. The way this hot start has started out, I mean, it's very likely that they're going to make the playoffs. I think it'd take a huge collapse for them to not make the playoffs. So I do think this is a good team. I think they're contenders. They do have their challenges. They do have some flaws, but I definitely think with the right luck, this team's going to be there and could potentially be in the World Series at the end of the year.
Yeah, and realistically, it is really all about luck because you got to be good to get lucky, lucky to be good, that kind of saying. You need injury luck. You need, guys to get hot the right time, guys to not get cold. You need that things happen. The right trade at the deadline falls into place. You need that luck to combat the good to win a World Series. Even as a Red Sox fan, I think the Yankees team right now has been the best team in baseball so far. Now, I don't know if they can keep it up over 162 games. I personally, maybe it's me just living in Florida, but, I'm very high on the Rays. But I know the Yankees, I think, just beat them in a series. But this Yankees team kind of has a little bit of a feel to it where it's like they could do something special, but I just feel like they have to have that luck in place to be able to get to it.
Oh, definitely. And actually, I'd love to touch on a point that you mentioned a minute ago about guys getting hot at the right time. So I think we should, you mentioned wanting to jump off the lineup. So I think that's a great place to start. That's a great segue, because one thing I've seen so far with this Yankees team that I have not seen in previous years is that not everybody's getting hot at the same time. With this core group of Yankees, the Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton group of Yankees, it tends to be feast or famine. Like, these guys are all hot at the same time, or these guys are ice cold at the same time. Now, this season, we've seen Aaron Judge just be playing an MVP caliber season so far, but the other guys in that lineup are getting hot and then cooling off, and someone else will step up and then get hot for a couple of days and then cool off. Anthony Rizzo had a lot of home runs early in the season. It's really cooled off since then. Aaron Hicks, actually, people are killing Aaron Hicks, but he had about a 5 or 6 game stretch there where he was hitting really well. And Gleyber Torres is another guy I just want to point out, as maybe his numbers aren't there right now, but in those clutch spots this season or when they've needed a big hit, like, that's the guy coming through. And I think if they can really keep this up, as one guy cools off, the next one or two guys kind of steps up, like, that's really putting them in a good position to head into down the stretch and then hopefully into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, when your whole lineup's hot at the same time, it's amazing. The Red Sox are doing it right now as they speak. But when the whole lineup's cold, it's a nightmare, because then you're not scoring, and then all the other team needs is 1 or 2 runs, and they're going to win because you can't score because your whole lineup's cold. Aaron Judge obviously this is the MVP Aaron Judge. I think all Yankees fans thought they were going to get earlier without some of the injuries or this and that happening. I think this is the Aaron Judge all the Yankees fans were like, this is the guy that we expected, and he's finally here. The only, obviously, the free agency with Judge, Yankees fans do have that to worry about. But while he's still in a Yankees uniform, he is performing, I think so far, this is the best run of his career, at least to start a season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like you said, the injuries have been there in previous years. So really we're looking at like 2017, 2021 is really his 2 full seasons. And this season has jumped out to a better start than both of those. And yeah, that free agency decision is looming. It's going to be really tough. I think the Yankees have got to step it up and keep him in the Yankees uniform. That's a discussion for another day. But what I do think is a benefit about that, and what the Yankees could benefit, is over the past couple of years, we've seen players like carry their teams during the offseason and then really carry their teams in the postseason to cash in on those big free agent paydays. Freddie Freeman last year, had a really good season, really good postseason, cashes in. Anthony Rendon in 2019 with the Nationals cashes in with the Angels the following season. And Mookie Betts, whereas he wasn't necessarily a free agent after 2018, but that monster 2018, that monster postseason, Dodgers saw that and like, well, this is the guy we need for our postseason run, and he cashed in. So, Yankees got to get this guy re-signed, but let's benefit from it at the same time. It's definitely a working relationship and good for both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if he's going to hit like this. The Yankees lineup so far, I think they've done a good job of kind of evening out the line where it's not just all sluggers this year. They have some contact guys. Their guys can do some other things in the lineup, which is big for lineup balance throughout the lineup. Their lineup right now is third in the MLB in weighted runs created plus with a 116. The lineup's been very good. And I think that's huge because that's going to be the strong suit of this Yankees team, their lineup. It's just going to be. But moving on to
I make a point with two contact hitters? Just while you mentioned that, I think you're absolutely right. Yep. One, they want Gleyber Torres to move away from a pull hitter and to go the other way a little bit more, which is we're seeing again. And Miguel Andujar, who just got called up, a couple of days ago to fill in. He had a huge 2018, was a doubles machine. Coming in right now is something to prove. Like he wants to stay in the major league level. He's got to go out there and produce. And that's a guy that can be a real X factor for us down the stretch.
Exactly. And we saw what he could do in his rookie year. So it's not like the talent isn't there. But moving on to another strong point of this Yankees team so far, their rotation. They are second in ERA, second in FIP for the rotation. And there's been one kind of standout guy so far in this rotation, hasn't there been?
Oh, absolutely. Nestor Cortez has really just been something else so far. I know where the question is, well, can he keep it up? Is this really what he is? He wasn't that previously. Well, the one big thing that's a difference from this year is he developed a cutter in the offseason, which is working really, really well for him. So it's hard to compare him to previous years now that he's got this new pitch that he seems to really getting good mastery of. And, he's just such a crafty lefty. And he's had 9 starts so far this season. So that's starting to turn into a real sample size. I don't know what your opinion as a Red Sox fan is, but as a Yankees fan, 9 starts, that's a pretty decent sample size.
Yeah, well, I say with starters, if you split their season in half and they give you an all-star level first half and just an second half, I'd take that over a guy who's just going to post like a 3.75 to 4 ERA the whole year because you're going to get at least half a year of dominance. And even if the Yankees just get that out of Nestor Cortez and he goes back to around a 4 ERA the rest of the year, you got that half of dominance, and then you can live with the other. It's like Yusei Kikuchi last year with the Mariners. All-star first half of the season, like a 2.30 ERA. Second half, he had like a 5 ERA. It averages out to about a 4 something. But he was dominant in that first half, and even if that happens to Nestor Cortez, the Yankees will 100% be happy with that.
Yeah, all these wins he's getting for us now, they don't take him away. So, they count one way or another. Another X factor on that rotation they got to bring up, though, is Jameson Taillon. I think he's a bit underrated. He doesn't seem to get a lot of attention. I know Luke's been on here saying he's like a 4th starter. I mean, truthfully, this guy is really good. He's got, well, first off, if his struggles to his career at this point have been arm issues. He's been injured quite a few times with the Pirates. But he really worked on shortening his delivery. And I was watching videos on YouTube earlier today to kind of get ready for this. And you see his delivery with the Pirates in 2018. I mean, you could just Google, put this into YouTube, 2018 Jameson Taillon, 2022 Jameson Taillon. And you could really see the difference where his arm, the angle he's coming to his arm, it's a lot tighter. It looks to be a lot less stress. So hopefully he can stay healthy. And the guy, he's actually a better pitcher than I think people realize. He has a good 4-seamer that gets some swings and misses, not blow away stuff all the time, but it's got some movement on it. And then he's got a really good slider curveball combination that gets hitters to drill the ball into the ground and keeps the ball on the ground, which in Yankee Stadium is obviously a huge benefit. You don't want a right-hander giving up a lot of fly balls in Yankee Stadium. So a right-hander that can keep the ball on the ground, huge benefit.
Yeah, when the Yankees got Taillon, I went, oh, you've got to be joking.
Because I said that.
I know because I was very high on Taillon with the Pirates. I'm like, just don't let him go to the Yankees. And then when the Yankees got him, it was just like, oh, you're joking. You got to be kidding me. Like the one team I don't want to get that I don't want him to go to, he goes to.
Yeah, and he's cerebral too, man. He just eats, sleeps, and breathes pitching. I mean, you gotta love a guy like that.
Exactly, and he's been decent. He hasn't been like amazing, but in this rotation where you already have Garrett Cole, you don't need him to be an ace like the Pirates would have needed him to be. You know, if he can find his spot in the rotation and mesh with the other guys in the rotation, like the Yankees rotation has been solid. Second ERA, second and fifth, like I said earlier. So they've been solid.
And I'm glad you brought that up about meshing with the lineups, because that's kind of something else I was thinking of. If you look at this lineup in a short series, so we're looking at a postseason series, you're using 4 starters. You can start Cole, who's like the hard throwing bulldog strikeout machine. You could slide in Nestor Cortez, the crafty lefty, to kind of keep guys off balance. Game 3, you bounce back if he's healthy. Bounce back to Severino, another power pitcher with electric stuff, and then you can move into Tyonis, the 4-starter, with his ground balls, and like he's got the fastball, but not like Severino level, but a ground ball pitcher. So you have a lot of different repertoires there that can keep guys off balance, teams off balance. And I mean, if they can stay healthy, that's one heck of a mesh.
And even if Severino doesn't necessarily stay healthy and were to have to end up in the bullpen come playoffs, you can still throw in Jordan Montgomery. So it's not like it's the end of the world. But moving on to the bullpen side of things, the Yankees, their bullpen hasn't been as good as it was to start the season as of late. Obviously, there's been some issues with their bullpen a little bit recently, but they're still, I think, top 10 in ERA and FIP for the bullpen. I think they're still around the 6-7 spot. I think actually, no, they're 6th in ERA, 3rd or 2nd in FIP, actually. So their bullpen's still been good overall. But there's been a standout guy in each spot of the team so far, and this bullpen is 100% Clay Holtz. He has a 0.38 ERA in 22 appearances. I don't care if they're low leverage or high leverage. If your ERA is that low, you've been doing something right.
He's been unbelievable. I mean, you can't ask for anything else, like anything better. The Yankees been great over the past 15 years or so. Like the one thing they really have developed is bullpen arms. Clay Holmes, just another guy they brought in and just kind of were able to make magic with. So, and that's important because really, like so far this season, Chapman hasn't been Chapman. You know, he does have historically, he doesn't start well. You know, the past 2-3 seasons, he's a slow starter, gives up a lot of big hits, like implodes early in the season. Weather gets warmer, he gets better. I don't know if that's going to happen or not this season. You know, it's hope. That's all we can say is we hope he gets better. But the good thing I do see about that is that Aaron Boone seems to be a bit more assertive this season. And the first sign of trouble that Chapman gets in, he's just getting pulled. You know, we can't worry about hurt feelings, trying to win a World Series. You're a free agent at the end of the year. If you can't do it, we got a guy like Clay Holmes that can.
Exactly. And that's been a big strength of a team like the Rays that have been, it's been talked about like the Rays for so long. It's just bullpen guy after bullpen guy. It doesn't matter if one guy struggles, so they'll just bring in the next guy who's, you know, got a 2 ERA, throwing 99 with the wipeout slider. Then the Yankees have somewhat done that with their bullpen. They bring in a guy, develop him, and boom, he pitches very well. And they're doing it with their young guys as well, like Jonathan Loaizaga, who I wish he wasn't a Yankee because I like his pitch mix so much. As a baseball fan, I like how he pitches so much, but it's like, yeah, he's on the Yankees. Like, come on, that sucks. But final predictions from you, John. Yankees record this year.
Man, I know you're going to ask me this.
I want to put you on the spot.
You know, I think they're at least a 95 win team. The way they've been playing, maybe they can be 100 wins. I think the thing that can maybe stop them from a 100-win season is the fact that they are very strict about giving guys days off and resting, and they're okay losing a game here or there to win the war in the end. So I don't necessarily know if Brian Cashman is concerned about winning the division. I hope he is, just because you'd like the home field advantage.
Yeah.
You want the best record in the AL to have that home field advantage, but I don't know if they're really concerned with that. So that would be the one thing I think that would keep them from winning 100 games.
Yeah, I mean, also too, you got to remember, look at the division they're in. You get the Rays, who I've like ridiculously high on. I think they could still win the division. The Blue Jays, if they get hot, like they're gonna be scary. And the Red Sox right now are hot, and like we're seeing what they're doing when they're hot. So it's a really rough division to go through, and I legitimately could be 4 teams from this division in the playoffs. Where it'll all end up, I truly don't know. But this has been my thing on the playoffs. Get to the playoffs first and then worry about the division. You can't win the division if you don't make the playoffs. So if I'm a Yankees fan, I'm saying it's all great and all around this great start, but almost every team, with a rare exceptions, have some sort of cold stretch at some point. Like the exceptions are like what, the 2018 Red Sox and what, maybe the Dodgers,
1998 Yankees, right? Like,
yeah, Yeah. There's
Yeah.
there's rare exceptions that they're gonna go on a cold stretch at some point.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important that they've won as many games against Baltimore that they did, that they're padding their lead early on. Because when they do hit that cold stretch, at least if they build up enough of a lead, I think they're 6 games over Tampa right now.
You'd 5.5.
5.5. There you go. So, you lose 5 games in a row, at least you're still kind of tied with Tampa. And you never know. Who knows? Like you said, Red Sox are waking up, so they could be a lot closer a week from now. Yeah, that's one, that's a big concern this year is that division. It's a monster, the AL beast.
Yeah, and that's for all 4 teams in that top of that division. But I'm pretty sure that's gonna wrap it up. I don't have any other final thoughts. So thanks for checking this out. Make sure to check out all the links in the description, the podcast, the Instagram, Twitter, the website, all the crew's Twitter will be down in the description. Make sure to check out all our previous videos, Red Sox game recaps, prospect videos, other videos on some teams, some interesting topics. We'll have some more in the future as well. For John, I'm Derek. This is Bleacher Brawls. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.